attempting to give those who are following him a clue. He was attempting to let them know who they are in God. He was attempting to give them a bridge by which they could truly stand in the power of the divine. He taught them this prayer so that they may be able to truly know their oneness in God. Our Father. None of those people were related to him by blood. When he said our Father, he was talking about all of life. He was talking about the creator of everything that has life. Jesus' own relatives weren't trying to have nothing to do with him. You know, oh well, maybe y'all don't know. When you start talking truth and start doing something, your family don't think you know what you're talking about. Mama finally came around.
Teach.
But Jesus was saying, our Father. The Father is the seed. The Father is the seed, that which has planted itself in the soil of your being. That soil or soul is the means by which you are to express your divinity. Your body is going to be expressing its humanity because it has everything necessary for it to happen. Everything that has been installed in this brilliant masterpiece that is the human body knows how to function. It just needs you to get out of the way. Before I go on a tangent about that, I'll just briefly say, there's a homeostasis about your body that knows how to function. When you start to trip, when you start to go into your fear, that is when the body starts to dysfunction. Okay? But let me get back to the matter at hand. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is God. The Logos spoke itself into being as your life, as my life, as all life. It keeps seeking to know greater expressions of itself. So now, this is the Spirit that is planting itself into the law of our being, this lawful universe in which we live, move, and have our beingness. So now, as law, as so, we automatically say a resounding yes at the realm of the absolute. At the realm of our spirit, we are ever saying yes. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But we are the fruit of the seed containing all of the qualities of God. Y'all know I talk about this in every foundations class, but I'll just give y'all a little preview for y'all, for those of you who haven't signed up yet, because I know you do so today. The soul is the universal subjective. That which is a spiritual law is that which is infallible, that always works, that can never not function. The gravity is a law. The buoyancy is a law. Electricity is a law. There is only our capacity to use it consciously for it to perform. It has always existed way before any of these inventors took advantage of it and start to create different elements that would facilitate us being able to manipulate it in this realm. And so there are spiritual laws that are also invisible, just as gravity is invisible, just as buoyancy is invisible, but no less keeps the boat afloat, keeps you afloat. There law that is always saying yes to the Word of God. Because remember, God is ever seeking a greater expression of itself through us. So, innately, we all desire something greater. Even though you were not willing to say, I am greater than I think I am, there is a dimension of you that knows the truth. All of that other stuff that made you kind of whisper and whimper and mumble it has to do with your fear and your past experience. Has nothing to do with the present or the presence of God. And so in this awareness, I know that just like it says in John 14:9, Jesus said, he that has seen me has seen the Father. So when they see you, they are seeing God. Okay? Jesus was letting us know, that didn't just apply to him. That if you see Jesus, you see the Father. God will continue to be invisible because there is no way that God could ever completely express itself throughout all of creation. There is still more God. Which art in heaven. That which art in heaven is that which art in a realm of good, in a realm of infinite possibility, in a realm of joy, in a realm of peace, in a realm of love, in a realm of harmony, in a realm of perfect peace, yes, freedom, truth, light. There is in this heaven no boundary that can keep us from entering it. There are many jokes about getting into the gates of heaven. But it's really about us making a conscious choice to move into the greater, away from the lesser, away from that which is so-called unworthy, into the perfect fulfillment of that which is worth itself. Heaven is within us. We have access to it. You need to worry about dying and going to the by and by. You can know heaven at any point that you decide to become aware of who you are as a divine being. You can create your own hell right here on earth. Every time you forget that you are a divine being. So when you know that this is the truth, I do not understand really why we believe more in hell than we do in heaven. Huh? I'm going to use Reverend Carlton Pearson's line, talk to me somebody. People get mad at me when I tell them there's no devil. What do you mean there's no devil? They got to have them some devil. They got to have them some devil. And they say I'm crazy because I'm not trying to talk to nobody about no devil. They will insist that I say that there is a devil because something must be wrong with me. They need to take me to the crazy house. You know, we can move beyond giving somebody else the blame for us forgetting. We can move beyond giving somebody else the blame for us not being awake. It is up to us to choose, again, to choose higher and to use that art of alchemy. That's the art by which everything may be transmuted into the gold, that greater substance in the realm of the metal aspect of life. But in truth, alchemy is moving the undesirable to a greater place of desire, and therefore triumphing over any kind of adversity, any kind of seeming obstacle, any kind of lesser reality into a greater consciousness, a greater awareness, a greater awakening of spirit. And so as we continue to learn through our classes, as we continue to study, all of the spiritual texts that are available, we start to train our mind so that our mind may get off of the realm of effects and move deeper into the realm of spirit, so that which is spiritual may come forward and transcend that which is physical.
Teach.
So in this transmuting process, we become masters as we notice that as we continue to up-level our conversation in the realm of the highest expressions of God, we become masters by meditating. We shut out the noise of the world so that we can tune in to the silence of spirit, that invisible realm that needs no expression through the senses as we do, because it dwells not only in the human realm, but in many dimensions in the Father's house. So, when you come to understand that you don't need the threat of more punishment in order to be greater, you don't need the threat of a pitchfork in order to be greater. You don't need the threat of somebody who don't even wear clothes and has a red body to make you become greater. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. That's from the Kybalion. Y'all gonna be ready for that soon, because y'all gonna have to come. Because I just got accepted into a very advanced Kabbalistic study program that I had to qualify for. And so what I know is that all of these Hermetic texts from ancient Egypt are expressing through different religions, and Jesus didn't talk to them from that framework because he already knew they couldn't hear him when he was talking in plain Aramaic. Satan means crazy thinking, and now they have created something that has horns and a pitchfork. It means we are now able to control our thoughts so that we may be able to master our lives. Hallowed be thy name. The name of something is the nature of something. Holy is your nature. You don't need anything to be added unto you. You are already holy. So when we talk about God being holy, that seems so very natural. But when we talk about ourselves being holy, well, you know, I don't know about all that. Will I still get the party? Well, yes, but you be really partying and not polluting your body and not making your body dysfunction, because when you are celebrating who you are as a holy, holy, whole being, then you are absolutely partying like you never partied before. I know something about that. Ernest Holmes tells us that each of us is an incarnation of the one spirit, that all life is one. That there is a divine wholeness, a total interconnectedness at the source. So despite our feelings or our thoughts about being separate in any way from anyone or from God, we are still wholly whole as one life. Thy kingdom come. The kingdom is come. We are the ones who need to come to an awareness of the kingdom. Thy will be done. Let me talk to you about love now. Now, somebody that's going to just let you do what you want to do without regard to what it wants you to do, would you call that love? Or do you need to call love something that controls you and just dictates what you should do every step of the way? See, the unconditional love of God will let you get your lessons in many ways. There are only blessings. There are no curses, regardless of whatever kind of demented thinking or story that you have bought into. Everything is a blessing. And because this is the truth, thy will is always being done. Meaning the God's will is always being done. Now, before you start talking about, well, God let this happen and God let that happen, we're going to get into a little bit of the four manifestations through Dr. Beckwith's teaching that I've taught in the visioning classes, but for those who have yet to sign up for it, then you'll know that there is a way that you can absolutely see God in everything. Everything. So, give us this day on earth as it is in heaven. I think we covered that. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us what we need. Give us what we need. You know, you may not want it, but you need it. You don't even know you need it. And then you start complaining about what God did to you. Why God let this happen? I'm a good person. You're here to reveal your greatest yet to be in each and every moment as a divine expression of God. You need stuff. You need tools. You need prods. It don't have to come by the way of a pitchfork. It might come from a family member. It might come from your significant other. It might come from your teacher. It might come from your boss. But thy needs will be met. Your daily bread will come. Feed us what is necessary for our soul's unfoldment. Our soul is going to be continuing on the journey beyond this fleshly realm, shuffling off the mortal coil. That soul will continue its journey into its greatest yet to be. But you will get your daily bread that you need for your soul's nourishment, so you need to pay attention when it comes. You need to pay attention when that bread, that manna comes from heaven. It may not look good, it may not smell good, it may not taste good, but it is good for you. I'll just share what my thought was in that moment. So I've been like kind of resisting this synergy for years that Reverend Michael had been talking about. And so when I saw him just go on for 6 hours without stopping, I was just like, okay, I'll get some synergy today. So Naomi was asking me, because she was watching it by stream, and she was like, are we going to sell any synergy? I said, well, probably, but for now, just don't say that when I start going on and going on. I don't mean in church service. I mean that energy is totally, absolutely amplifying. And so when y'all start to go, what's up with her? Then you'll know. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us what we need for our soul's unfoldment. And forgive us our debts. You know, they said trespasses at one time. And you know, traditional people always want to talk about sin. But we know sin is an archery term. It means missing the mark. So, we missed the mark. We have to forgive ourselves for missing the mark. We have a Buddhist monk who's coming in here at the end of the month giving y'all a workshop on what it means to be compassionate with yourself, what it means to be at peace, what it means to be in your loving. But we've lost the security of knowing our oneness with God. So we think we need to be forgiven. No, this is a human thing. Forgiveness is for humans. God loves you unconditionally. It doesn't need to forgive you. It doesn't see anything wrong with you. You are the one that sees something wrong with yourself and each other, and what you see wrong with yourself, projecting it on another. So you want to ask your higher self to be patient with your lower self. that is not forgiving you. We lost our peace of mind because we didn't embrace the truth that God's mind within us is perfect peace. Y'all remember that song, film Love Story? Ryan O'Neal, Ally McGraw. Love means never having to say you're sorry. I believe it. Now you better say you're sorry so the person don't really go upside your head or something. But you don't have to say you're sorry. Love knows that you're sorry, that you missed the mark. Love knows it. Ego don't. You can't talk that way to me. Do you hear what he did to me? That's ego. Love just sees your perfection. Love just sees your magnificence. Love sees a joy when it thinks of expressing itself through you. As we forgive our debtors. As long as we have hate, we will attract hate to us. See, now I get Edwin Gaines' Forgiveness CD in my car every day. Push it. You know, it's only 5 minutes. I don't know if we have any left here or not in the bookstore, but you need to be reminded 70 times, 70 times, 70 times, 70 times, 70 times, 70, whatever, ad infinitum, that we're all one. So, I mean, she takes it like, I forgive my mother. I forgive all women. I forgive my father. I forgive all men. So you have to come into an awareness that as long as you are carrying around hatred of any kind, that you are crippling yourself and standing in the way of your own good. You don't have to worry about whether your boss gives you a raise. You need to raise yourself up so that you can be above the hatred that you've been carrying around where you can't even see right to be able to get your finances in order. It's all energy. Money is a symbol of energy. We must forgive ourselves in the process. I was at a picnic yesterday. It was the 50th reunion of Maple Park. That's where I grew up. So we had a picnic down at the Forest Preserve down 135th Street. We were talking about different people, and they were saying who they friended on Facebook and so forth and so on. I said, well, I didn't friend them because they stole my dog. So, you know, everybody thinks they need to fix the minister, right? Well, I know I don't need to tell you. So I said, okay, no, you're right. That was like 1968 when after the dog was dead, you know that. I'm not going to friend this person because they stole my dog. Yes, you come to find out somebody else. They thought those same people stole Miss Daniel's car, broke into Miss Daniel's car. But anyway, we forgive them because they know not what they do. If they needed to do that, then that's on them. But I don't need to be carrying this 45 years later. You know? So, lead us not into temptation. The Spirit does not lead us into temptation. It must deliver us from evil. That's what it's about. It's bringing us into a higher understanding of what it means to live. The live is in the right direction. Evil is backwards for live. Okay? So when you're able to let the light of your being shine through, then you will be removed from any kind of darkness that you are seeing. And you remember that character in Peanuts that walks around with this cloud over him? You know, it's like how we do. We walk around with this cloud over. You know, if that light within our being just broke through, that cloud would just have to dissipate and dissolve. Well, what about them storms? You know, Tropical Storm Lee is going to be 20 inches. Those poor people in New Orleans, oh my God, what's going to happen to them? The people in John Lafitte, Louisiana, has been hit hard. Oh my God, what's God doing? From Louisiana to Florida, through Mississippi and Alabama. And then the threat of Katia coming up the eastern seaboard this week. What's going on? Did y'all hear about that incident with the snake in Sacramento? Totally injured. The snake. The man bit the snake. Y'all thought the snake bit the man, right? No, the man bit the snake twice. How about he was drunk? You think he missed the mark? Huh? The poor snake's liver is all like, you know, shattered. Somebody sees the evil in that. How about Billy Joe Armstrong from the band? He couldn't get on the Southwest Airlines flight. Know why, Mama? He was wearing sagging pants. Somebody said, that's evil. You can't get on this plane. I love it. I was walking down the street the other day with a friend, and this young man had the sagging pants, and she was like, well, your pants are dropping, and he was pulling them up. I said, that's funny. That's funny. I got to tell my mom about that one, because it makes her crazy to see that. She said they do it every time I tell them. They pull up their pants every time I say, your pants are falling. She said they wouldn't do that if they knew what it was about. Well, so far, there's about 3 different theories. In prison, you can't wear a belt, so your pants have to droop because you can't hold them up. That's not intentional, okay, but they want to mimic that behavior, okay? Or your family does not have a lot of financial means and you got hand-me-downs, so you got to wear clothes that are too big for you, so they start falling down. Or the third one is it's a good place to hide a weapon. Now, here's what you're telling the universe. You cannot see yourself other than being inside of prison. You cannot see yourself as being anything other than poor. Or you cannot see yourself as anything other than needing a weapon to be able to navigate you through this life. So this is what you're affirming when you're wearing the baggy pants. So some call that evil. So, here's where the 4 windows of manifestation comes in. The Job factor. My greatest fears have come upon me. So what happens to the young man who's wearing the baggy pants? Where does he end up? Yeah. Okay? What happens to the man who is wearing baggy pants and tries to get on a plane? He gets a wake-up call. Oh snap, this is not acceptable behavior on transcontinental flights, or, you know, hello. So now, my greatest fear has come upon me. I'm sure that this man who bit the snake has not thought about him biting a snake, but more so the snake biting him. It was almost like it was preemptive because the snake was not really threatening him. I don't know if he had a throwback from Vietnam where they were eating snakes or what. But sometimes these things occur in our lives, which brings in the second window, so that we can get a lesson. So that we get a set of experience that will activate something in your mind, because the higher self is creating things for your unfoldment so that you can birth transformational qualities within you. Something is seeking to emerge. Now this guy, Billy Joe, what is his name? Billy Joe Armstrong. He may still be in that blame game where he's talking about what Southwest Airlines did to him. But I'll bet you he might make a different choice on his next preparation for takeoff. Now, in this third way of the blessing, sometimes there are things that happen so that you can up-level the consciousness of those who are around you. Now, they do have to be willing to be awake. You know, there was a woman, and her life kind of mirrored that of Helen Greaves in a way, because she had lost her child at a very young age. And Helen Greaves has a couple of books out about this. She has a book called what is it? The Wheel of Eternity. So she's a clairvoyant, and she talked about this woman who was very wealthy, who had a boy who was born with Down syndrome, and the boy died at 11 years old from drowning. And so the woman became very hard and very cold, and she wasn't very compassionate. But the boy on the other side was able to communicate with her, and she writes about it in Wheels of Eternity. And so in the next dimension, he was able to assist her in opening up her heart to be kind. And so you have to kind of understand immortality and to understand that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be requalified in order to accept that. But sometimes when people die, it's for the other people to become up-leveled in their consciousness. And we'll talk more about that again in other classes. But in the last window, it's a reflective of the collective consciousness. Now, two things here. Everybody has been afraid of losing their job. Therefore, what has happened? Unemployment has multiplied. And the same thing with the economy. The economy is based on the collective thinking of everybody. So you have an opportunity to transmute and to master this kind of alchemy where you can move beyond what you have already seen, because everything that you've already seen and done is showing up in the material world around you, right, Eric? So what you know is you've already lived what you're seeing. It's now time for you to create something new. That which is invisible is now in the process of being created through you. But if you continue to stay in the old story, you will wonder why you are so bored, because the same thing is happening over and over and over again. Because if we are in this time dimension, and we are not open to forgiveness, we are not open to compassion, the suffering and pain must continue, because that is based on the spiritual law we're putting into the universe. So it is now time for us to realize who we are as divine beings. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So when you know that God is love, can you see love? Some say no, some say yes. Is love an entity that you can see?
No.
Can you see love in someone?
Yes.
Okay, that must be God.
Mm.
Can you see joy? Have you seen the entity joy itself?
No.
Have you seen joy in someone?
Yes.
Have you seen joy in a dog?
Yes.
Have you seen joy in a cat?
Yes.
Have you heard joy in a bird?
Yes.
I'm telling you, the invisible is the greatest way of seeing. You couldn't see your mother either when you were in the womb, but you knew she was there. We live in eternity, but we focus most of our attention in the realm of time. Now we keep one foot in time and one foot in eternity, because that which is eternity is our spiritual self, and that which is time is our human self. But thank God, as it says in Romans 8:28, all things in God work for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Now, everybody loves God. The atheists do too. They just sleep. No, really. I've already told y'all that everybody loves me. I'm clear on that. They don't have to know that they love me. That's all right. I know that they love me at the realm of spirit. They are made in the spiritual image and likeness of love. Now, if you're made out of the nature of God, you can't be anything but that. So, most Christians don't believe Jesus. Most Christians don't believe Jesus. Most of them will quote Jesus and will not do as Jesus said. Love thy neighbor as thyself. They don't believe Jesus when he said, greater things than these shall you do. They keep relying on Jesus to save them rather than taking responsibility for their own lives. Jesus was not a codependent being. He was not an enabler. Okay? God is not going to punish you. You do that better than anything else. Why would God need to punish you? The law is perfect. The law corresponds to what you think. So if you think that you deserve to be punished, you will find a way to punish yourself. God still sees you as perfect, and God is still looking to fulfill itself through you. I'll be darned if I choose you to express through and I think that you're going to do something stupid. God is not expecting you to fail. God is expecting to express through you its magnificence. It's like an employer. Your boss is not going to hire you expecting you to make him look bad. Huh? Now, I don't care if your boss is the city of Chicago and you clean streets. The city is relying on you for its image if you clean in the streets. What you do reflects on the city when you work for the city. What you do for Power of Oneness reflects on Power of Oneness. Anyway, I am made out of the substance of greatness. Can you see greatness?
Yes.
Can you see the entity greatness? Can you see it in someone?
Yes.
That's God. Many of us believe that only what we can see is real, and that what we cannot see is not. I'm telling you, it's the other way around. I know y'all want to get the white man with the white coats to come and get me. Go in prayer for me to get the return of my mind. But you are lost if you think that what you see is the only thing that is real. Can you see sorrow? Can you see sorrow as an entity of itself? No. That is where you cannot see God, because God is not a God of sorrow. You can see a frown, you can see a smile, but you don't see sorrow or joy itself. You know it's there. Can you see harmony?
No.
You kind of have to feel that, don't you? That's when you're feeling from the presence of God. Can you see rage? You may have it interpreted that way, but that's not the nature of God. God is not focused on lack or limitation. God is not angry, and God is not poor. There would be no luscious trees. There would be no bountiful acres of grass. There would be no endless skies if God was limited or lacked. Anger would burn the house down, as Thich Nhat Hanh says in his book, Anger. There would be no houses left if God was angry. God is abundant and expansive, love and prosperity, and God is in you. Breathe now.